It's okay that we weren't able to go today. I know stuff happened, and we can just go to the aquarium a different day. It's going to be pretty hot this week. And I know myself, so I'm not even going to try to plan anything. I mean, yeah, I know it'll be pretty cold in the building, but it's also a lot of walking. And the constant walking and taking breaks can be pretty exhausting. But anyways, how are you doing today? Well, besides you getting home later than you planned. I mean, but at least you're home now. I missed you a lot, and I'm glad you're doing better now. Yeah, and it'd be too hot to really do anything this week, and I know you probably have some time off after your trip, so you'd probably just want to relax anyway. I checked the weather forecast last night, I think, and we have an extreme heat warning for the most of the week. At this point, I'm just ready for summer to be over now, even though we're only at like the second month of summer. I hope this is the only week like this. I mean, but it could be worse. I don't really watch the news, but I keep seeing them talking about how some places are getting worse temperatures, like in the 100s. Yeah, it looks like it will be back in the 80s for next week. But anyways, we can just watch a movie or show or even just keep talking. Well, I'm not even going to try to make plans just in case something happens like this week, but if we are able to do something, what would you want to do together? If next week isn't too bad. That's okay, you don't have to choose anything right now, anyway. It's probably best to wait until the end of the week to figure everything out instead of getting our hopes up anyways. I understand. Hmm? What is it? You seem pretty tired now. Are you? It's okay, but if you're tired, you should rest. Oh, but I'm serious about it. The heat can make people sleepy, so if you are, don't try to force yourself to stay awake. Good. It's okay. You can close your eyes and rest now. If you want, I can read some of the book I was reading earlier. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. That would be nice, actually. I can read a few pages for you while you drift off if you want me to. I wouldn't mind. The book I was reading is called Survivors. It's a book about dogs. Um it's by Aaron Hunter. And I didn't get that far in it, so I can just like restart from the beginning. So I can do that. It's not a problem. Chapter 1. Our Territory Ours. Birds took off with an alarmed clatter and screech from the treetops, and distributed leaves fluttered down around Lucky's paws. He stood stiff and trembling, gazing back the way he came. This was his pack in the valley. No, not his pack, but his friends. And those ferocious barks told him one thing. They were in terrible danger. He was not there to help them fight. Lucky glanced around Torrance since just after sunup, when he left for his friends to fend for themselves. He had traveled a long way. He could make out the misty silhouettes of the bare hills in the distance. And now that he was a good way away from the valley, he was able to look down at almost the entire forest. Indeed, he nearly climbed clear of the trees, and close in front of him was the ridge he'd been heading for. The side of it had been spurring him on, making his leg run fast. I make it some of the words like mixed up because of how fast I usually read, but I can read a bit slower. But I'll try to read slower. Um, I might read a bit fast though, so I might mess up most of my words. So just a quick heads up for that as I try to continue on from the second page of the of chapter 1. So yeah. But yeah, I'll probably read probably about half the chapter if I can. Okay. Making his legs run faster and faster, but now he stood as still as a tree. His friends needed him, heart pounding. Lucky bolted back the way he came. Forest dogs, don't let them come to any harm. Let me get there in time. He raced down the valley, leaping over fallen branches and scattering leaves. He should have trusted his he should have trusted his instincts. Deep down, he'd known that he was not supposed to leave the pack, but he had trotted away like a lone dog, and now his friends were vulnerable. Who will protect them if I don't? He could still hear the howls of anger, dog voices that he didn't recognize, mingled with the barks of his litter sister and the rest of the leash dogs. Our leader, our our land, our water, get out. Everyone together, stay with me. Lucky's powerful hind legs brought him quickly to the crest of a small hill, and he scrabbled to a halt before his momentum could take him plummeting down. Wait, Lucky. Find the rest of the land before you dash into trouble. Find out the lay of the land before you dash into trouble. Lucky's keen gaze searched the valley below. It opened out into broad and lush meadows beyond the thick wood it had. Seemed ideal for the leash dogs. There were places for Mickey to hunt and for Martha to swim. Plenty of shelter for Sunshine and Offrey and Daisy. Wide ranges for Bruno and Bella to explore. He should have known that other dogs would have had the same idea. Of course, another pack had gotten to the valley before them. And now those dogs were defending their territory. In the defense, silver light glinted on a smooth expanse of water. Further down and next to the forest edge ran the river where he'd last seen the leash dogs. Lucky bounded down the hill, heading toward it. The hostile pack's growls and barks made Lucky's fur prickle with anger and fear, but he knew if he burst if he'd burst out from the forest in broad daylight, he'd be seen at once. So he made himself go carefully. Something had changed about the river since he'd left his friends there. A strangeness, Lucky thought, and then he remembered the streams and pools close to the destroyed city. They had the same sense of danger that Lucky was picking up now. Horrified, Lucky stopped and stared. There was a nasty green slick on the surface of the water. There was supposed to be this was supposed to be a safe haven. The river was supposed to be clean, pure, and it had been, or they thought, when they found it yesterday. But now, Lucky could see the deadly stain spreading down river. If I led my friends to poison the water. Was there no getting away from the taint of death that the big growl had brought? At the end of the river, even though the trees and bushes at the water's edge looked half dead, shriveled and broken, as if a giant dog had chewed on them, as he ran across the hillside purl to the stream, Lucky's heart felt heavy in his chest, as if Big Growl's sickness could infect even this place. There might be nowhere else for the dogs to go. Nowhere they could be safe. Get out, a vicious growl split in the air, and Lucky heard the panicked yelping of confused dogs in a strong yip of pain. He raced along and down the hillside, claws skidding on stone, when he broke out of a line of thick scrub. He caught sight of them at last. His friends looked small and vulnerable against the attacking pack. A wild-looking band of large dogs, stiff-legged and snarling. Now and again one would spring forward to give a brutal volley of barks. You've got it coming, leash dogs. He could hear Bella's voice too, quieter, more frightened, but still brave. It's all right, everyone. Stay together, sunshine. Get behind Bruno, Martha. Help Daisy. Skulling low to the ground, crouching in the shadow of a huge boulder, Lucky counted 7 dogs in the enemy pack. Blood surged through his body, and he felt a powerful impulse to race right into battle, but his instincts learned on city streets held him back. He realized with a rush of relief that the fighting had stopped for the moment. The other pack was just taunting and insulting Bella's pack. If Lucky raced in now, the situation could have been deadly again. The hostile pack might decide to finish the smaller dogs quickly so they can concentrate on him. Right now, a couple of huge dogs were lunging and snapping at little Sunshine and Daisy, not biting to kill, but making them flinch away in terror. Keep them off balance, some dogs said in a low growl. Spring, watch your step. Watch your side. One of the wild dogs leaped to her right, leading heading Sunshine off from escape. As the small dogs Right now, a couple of huge dogs were lunging and snapping at little Sunshine and Daisy, not biting to kill, but making them flinch away in terror. Keep them off balance, some dogs said in a low growl. Spring, watch your step. One of the wild dogs leaped to her right, heading Sunshine off from escape as the small dogs scurried from behind Bruno toward the shelter of some underbrush. Lucky looked around for the dog that had given the orders but couldn't see him. Lucky knew that if any of the bigger leash dogs dashed to Sunshine and Daisy's defense, the rest of the hostile pack would dart in. Here we go again. Anyway. I feel like I'm reading too fast for you to keep up, but but I also read too fast, so I like mess up a bunch of words. I'm probably just gonna stop for now because yeah, but I also don't really read for people, so it's kind of like a bit more difficult. But yeah, I hope you liked the part that I did read. I hope I did decent enough, I guess. As I said, I don't read for people, so that was like my first time like doing it in like a decently long while. So yeah. Anyways, you should get some rest. I love you, Daddy.